Southern Appalachian Trillium morning. There's a hush in the holler for the daylight speaks. Mist rising soft off the river and the creek. Boots on the path where the old roots went, through a cathedral of pine and thyme. The mountain's breath is cool and slow, whispers through the hemlock rows, and I walk alone, but I ain't alone, with the earth humming low like a welcome home. Trillium blooms in a quiet grace, white as the dawn in a shaded place, and trout lilies nod in the morning air like they've been waiting just to be there. Golden light starts breaking through, painting the ridge in a softer hue, and every step feels sacred still on a southern Appalachian hill. Oh, this southern Appalachian Trillium morning, where the river runs and the light comes pouring, bird song rising like a faithful prayer, through the dogwood bloom and the mountain air. Ain't no rush, ain't no warning, just peace in a trillium morning, where the soul finds rest without a word, in the quiet truth of what's been heard. The thrush calls out from a hidden limb, and the world feels close and the noise feels dim. Every leaf got a story to tell, every breeze like a mountain bell. Water talking over stone and sand like it knows me better than I understand. And I linger along where the shadows fade, in the grace that the morning made. You can keep your roads and your city lights, your hurried days and your restless nights. I'll take this dawn where the wild things grow, and the river's the only road I know. This southern Appalachian Trillium morning, where the river runs and the light comes pouring, bird song rising like a faithful prayer, through the dogwood bloom and the mountain air. Ain't no rush, ain't no warning, just peace in a trillium morning, where the soul finds rest without a word, in the quiet truth of what's been heard. So I'll walk on slow till the sun climbs high,
All right.
with the mountains watching in time.
Here we go. Good evening, friends and neighbors. Welcome back to the Raven County Rag. Get some background going here. Let's see what we got. Turn it down low. All right. First of all, I owe y'all a word. I'm sorry I missed the show last week. I was down on the Georgia coast spending time with my father and truly enjoyed that visit. You know, sometimes we got to make choices in life, and that was a choice I made, and I hope y'all forgive me. But know that I'm back in the seat Thursday nights at 6 o'clock, 6 till 7. Go ahead and start sending me a chat or whatever they call these things on the YouTube and let me know you're out there watching it. I had a little introduction song there. I'd written up and played the guitar and played some mando and put it together on a loop on some kind of program and called it Southern Appalachian Trillium Morning. And it just reminded me of some of my walks I've made this spring, watching the trillium and the trout lily bloom before everything else was coming out. And I just wanted to put that out there and show you how I felt about where I live at. But I missed y'all, and I'm grateful to be back in these mountains with you tonight. And boy, spring is fully upon us now. It's been a little dry, but the temperatures have been mighty pleasant. On my morning walks, the hills are putting on a show. The green is rolling in, blossoms are hanging on, and everywhere you look, there's proof that the season has turned for good. That kind of beauty has a way of slowing a man down in the best possible way. Before we go any further, let's remember why we gather here. We're a community of like-minded people with common interest in hunting, fishing, protecting our community, culture, families, and environment. We come here to exchange ideas, resources, and information. That's the heartbeat of this show, and spring is giving us plenty to talk about. Boy, I blew through that introduction. Went down to visit the old dad. He's 86, born in 39. He will be 87 at the end of June this year. 87 years old. Man, alive. And I went down there. I said, don't be bashful about talking about all your aches and pains, because I want you to have a long and healthy life, and I want you to talk about the things that you're experiencing so that I'll be ready to experience them too if I make it that far. But anyway, let me turn it just a little bit. Hey, listen, if you want to get on in the show here, we can set up a Zoom call or a Teams or something like that, and I can plug you into this OBS studio, and we can have guests. If you've got something you're an expert in, which I'm sure we're all expert in something or another. Some of us are just long-winded. But anyway, I'd love to have a co-host on this show, someone who could pick it up and run with it when I'm from time to time away. Or hell, if they're better than I am, to get out here and do outreach in this community and form a strong bond with people in the community where we could grow this community of folks. And I'll be happy. I'll be a happy old fool, like I'll be like a pig in slop, I guess they would say. So tell me out there what I got going. Yeah, I wrote another song too. I had some help, but I call it Appalachian Spring. Maybe I'll play that next week, unless I have a large amount of requests for it. Excuse me. This live stream, I'm only doing it on this platform. And people say, well, maybe you ought to put it on Facebook too. And I'm on Facebook a little bit in the local communities, but man, I don't want to go barging in on people. If I had more than one request, or if I had 3 or 4 people who watched it on the YouTube platform who also watched me on the Facebook, and thought they could talk it up, then I'd be more than happy to do that. But right now, I am just happy right here on the old YouTube, developing the craft and getting the experience so I can continue to bring a quality program out there. We are called the Rabun County Rag. I've talked about it before. That the old ham radio operators back in the day, before we had internet and smartphones or even teleo phones, old boys would put together old scrap wire and capacitors and a couple things laying around. They would build a shortwave radio, and they would sit up late at night, and when the atmospheric conditions were right, they could talk to people either 10, 20, 50, 100. Sometimes they can skip clear across the country or halfway around the world with them little radios, and they would get together and talk about what was going on in their community. And back then, that was a primitive way to everybody to share information. So, and they called it chewing the rag. So that's why I kind of, one of the reasons I named this the Rabun County Rag, so we could get together and chew the rag. And I've been doing this quite a while now. I am more than ready for other participants to jump in here and critique the show, critique me, and give me some things that we could talk about. Well, the main thing, one of the things that we believe in here is hunting, and turkey season is now well underway in Georgia. Now, it opened on March 28th on private land and on public land, including wildlife management areas and national forest lands. It opened April 4th. Y'all, excuse me again. I don't know this time if it's not allergies from all these spring trees in bloom and all that. They say the older you get, the more susceptible you are to allergies and whatnot. So that's, I had another appointment with a doctor today, and he gave me some antibiotics or whatever. So if I turn away, I'm either sneezing or coughing, trying to clear these sinuses or clear this upper respiratory. Anyway, the main season opened on April 4th, and it runs through May 15th. Now, there is a limit of 2 gobblers per season, with only 1 taken per day. I don't know if you can take them hens or not. I didn't research that much. If you're into the turkey hunting, man, let me know what the ramifications are. Is it only gobbler hunting, or can you take a hen too? Don't know. I'd like to know, but I do know one thing for certain, that the Georgia DNR says that you can take 2 gobblers per season and 1 per day. Anywho, moving along, Georgia and DNR both continue to frame this season around habitat, reproduction, and hunter pressure rather than just raw excitement, which is probably the right mindset for us mountain hunters up here. I've got a couple hens I've seen running around the place here. I got the little grand boy out there. You got the old chalk box out there squawking them up. I hadn't seen them in a while. I got an old bobcat too, being caught on the old trail camera. Old bobcat might have got them hens. I saw a rabbit the other morning. So we've seen, we've got a little bit of it all right here real close to town. We got bears, bobcats, turkeys, possums, raccoons. What else could there be? I hadn't seen one of them mountain lions yet. I don't know if I'm real excited about that. I did not find a current official Rabun County specific harvest report for this week, but Georgia Outdoor News April reporting says Georgia hunters entered the season with strong interest, good early gobbling, and close attention on hen nesting and brood rearing conditions. Now, what all that means, I'll need a more experienced hunter. I got a pretty good idea, Mother Nature being what it is, human or anything else, mating is mating. Georgia Outdoor News broader turkey coverage also covers points to a familiar mid-April transition as the hens begin nesting more consistently, and gobblers can become more callable later in the morning. And that lines up with long-standing Georgia turkey behavior reporting. For Rabun County and the northeast Georgia mountains, good turkey habitat still means mature hardwood ridges for roosting. Openings are old roads for strutting, creek bottoms and benches for travel. I bet if I got down there a little closer to the creek, I got a creek probably about maybe no more than two or 300 yards down the hill there. I might have a better opportunity. There's an opening down there too where there's a cemetery. Might be some turkey hunting along those power lines. But anyway, openings are old roads for strutting, creek bottoms, and benches for travel, and a nearby mix of green up, which I do keep on hand. I cut my collard greens back. I got collard green trees. They look kind of like miniature palm trees out there. That big old stem coming up and then leaves at the top, and then it shoots up and has the flower heads on it. And the only reason I ain't pulled them out of the garden yet is I'm letting those seeds go to maturity. And then what I'll do is I'll beat them out right there in the garden. And if I have to weed them out around some tomatoes or peppers or something like that, then I'll do that. But I like to keep that thing kind of packed in with good stuff and keep the deer fed and all that stuff. I grow more than I'll ever eat, and I tended that way, especially them collard greens. They're easy to propagate. I've been thinking about changing the name of this place from Serendipity Point to Collard Green Hill. Anyway, in mountain countries, terrains matter. So back into the turkey calling, almost as much as calling. Soft calling, careful setup before daylight, and using ridges and folds to hide your movement still give hunters the best odds. Boy, I hope I make it through this the way this old throat's feeling right now. And by this point in April, that mid-morning window can get better as hens begin peeling off to lay and incubate. I hope them two hens I've seen around here still around. I'd like to see them two hens running around with a bunch of little gobblers chasing after them. That'd be kind of fun to see. I'd like to get a good stand of those things out here just to have them around. You never know what the world is going to bring. And if you take care of nature, I do believe that nature will take care of you. That darn old stream is acting up again. I tell you what, thank you, Elon Musk. I can't say it enough, as spotty as it gets sometimes. It's a far shout better than I've ever had before. I've never been able to do a live stream because of companies that shysters and all that offering internet services that are misleading. It's funny how some people can call 3 megabits a high-speed internet connection, not throwing in your names or MUDs, Windstream. Anyway, as for other seasons, now we covered turkeys, but let's talk about some of the other seasons. Georgia's general fur-bearing trapping season closed at the end of February, but Georgia still allows no closed season on private land for certain nuisance species, including beaver, coyote. I got coyote around here, raccoon, and opossum. Yeah, my wife's got a cat or two or three around here. Some of them swing by, you know, old Tomcat, he'll swing by every now and then, scoping out the area. But she also feeds the raccoons and the possums when she puts out that cat food. But anyway, those are always in season. I had old friend Rick Robinson used to tell me about catching them old possums, and they'd put them in a pen and feed them on corn for about a week before they'd slaughter them and have them for dinner. He said it cleaned them out and made them taste better. Had another old friend. I don't know if he's still alive now. Rick's long gone. He's gone to meet his maker, good man. Willie Tompkins. He said he had a buddy who had a freezer, and he always left 1 foot on everything in his freezer so he'd know what it was. Anyway, old things, old signs, and old people and things like that. Probably good to keep that kind of thing in mind. So the dedicated winter trapping season is over, but predator and nuisance control remains part of the picture for landowners. Now, get into some fishing. Fishing-wise, spring trout stocking is active in North Georgia, and Georgia WRD has again highlighted mountain streams as a major spring opportunity. I need to get up on the tool. I got my poles in the back of the truck in the back seat. I need to get up there and fish. I tell you what, this pollen or head cold that I got has sure put a dent in my ambition. It's hard enough for me to get shaking and moving at my age, and now throw in a little head cold or whatever it is of allergies. It really beats out my ambition. But anyway, Tulu area trout fishing stays relevant right now, and the combination of stocking, warming afternoons, increased insect activities keep trout on the table for Rabun County anglers. I tell you what, I'd like to have me a trout dinner. I went down, I told you I went down and visited Dad, and I saw something keyed me, and I got the hankering for a fish dinner. And there's this place that's been down there for 100 years, I bet. It's called Windwrights, right there on Coastal Highway 17 or whatever it is. Runs from Sheldon Bluff on up, I think, into Savannah and all the way down Jekyll Island and all that way. But right there in Brunswick, a little place called Windwrights. And went in there and had their combo platter and had whole catfish, flounder, and I can't remember what else. But boy, I sure tore that up. And me being on a diet, I went to the doctor. I lost 1 pound in 1 week. I thought I'd lost. I know I gained a lot more than that, because another night when I was down there visiting Dad, we went out and had pizza. And this is the kind of stuff I don't eat at home, old fried fish and pizza. Well, it took me about 3 days to get over that. I just now felt normal earlier today. But anyway, moving along, let's go get us some trout, boys. If you're a trout fisherman, know where the honey holes are, man, share it with me. I'll tell you what, if you get in touch with me and send me a chat and say, hey, let's go fishing, I'll tell you my favorite places, and you can tell me your favorite places, and maybe we can hit them both in one day. You know, trout fishing here in Rabun County, it ain't that far a drive. There's more water around here I'll ever fish in my lifetime. I know that. And I got an old grandson now. Maybe he'll get to fishing a lot more than I have. You know how it is. That's, you got to get them fishing when they're young. That is the best thing. It's amazing to me that, we've had the pleasure of this grandboy being with us 1 night, 2 nights, 3 nights a week, since he was an infant, before he could crawl. And I'm a troll. I troll him all the time. I mess with him. And the things that you put in their heads when you don't think that it's taken, it's taken. It's taken. mannerisms, how they behave, and what you teach them, it reveals itself. Especially when they start going to school, they get going to school with them other little rugrats, and they start picking up their personalities. Then they go, wait a minute, I'm an individual. I'm more than just who my parents and Pawpaw and Nana are. I got a personality, and boy, they start showing it. He's in preschool, boy. Me trolling and poking and prodding him in his head, in his mind. He'll give me a look like, you fool, I know you. But anyway, that is the joys of being a grandparent. Boy, I remember being a parent, man, worrying about whether they had diapers and food and shelter, all that stuff. But I'm through that now. I don't know if I'd have the energy to raise another one. I'll tell you what. I thought about getting a dog, and I said, well, that's a lot of energy too. Y'all send me a chat. Let me know your ideas about that. Like I said, I got this old chest cold sinus thing going on here. It's insanely aggravating. Anyway, where are we? Just got through talking about a little bit of fishing. Trout fishing in particular. Yeah, I know the trout fishing's picking up. It's coming up on Facebook. There's some people around here, they're showing some golden trout, and I'm thinking, are they in Colorado with showing pictures around here or what? But anyway, it's nice to see people out there enjoying the spring weather and getting in the water. Got guys on there now tying their flies up, and there used to only be a couple guys who did that on YouTube. Davey and a guy named Mr. Davey and a couple others would do that. And years ago, when I first started doing it, boy, it was old grainy pictures and stuff on a bad connection. And learned how to build fly rods and fishing rods, watching YouTube videos, and until I got my own feel for it. And then, you kind of, you take what you learned and you build on it. Matter of fact, I got a couple blanks in there. I could put together a pole. I want to do too many things. I want to fish. I want to hike. I want to garden. I got to take care of the roadway. Man, it just seems like I'm busier now than when I was working. And I know I added on myself, and I just guess I just ain't learned to quit and focus on one thing. Some of you older timers like me, y'all give me an idea on how you keep track of it. I'm afraid if I don't have enough I still do that. I'll catch myself sitting on the couch watching TV and going, I need to do something. I'm going to run out of these wonderful days where I can get up and move around. At 64, the way I treated myself over the years, it sounds like I'm eating a bowl of Rice Krispies when I get up every morning, everything crunching and grinding. Anyway, spring fishing in North Georgia is now in that good in-between place where cold water opportunities are still strong, but warm water fish are beginning to shift hard. Georgia's March fishing report noted upper 40s to low 50s surface temperatures in many places. And by mid-April, that means bass are increasingly using shallow transitions, warming pockets and secondary points, wood and rock, especially during the afternoon. For lake fish, the change in weather matters because sunny stretches and warm afternoon pull fish shallower, but cold fronts and clear nights can knock them back down just as quickly. That means successful anglers are watching not just the day, but the daily temperature swing. Fish can be there one afternoon and off the bank the next morning if the weather takes a turn. Now, river fishing, especially trout, spring remains one of the best windows of the year. Stocking is active, flows are usually manageable unless storms spike them. It seems like we're in the middle of a drought. So if you're stocking them, that just crowns them and makes them more competitive for the feed coming downstream. I guess that's something we could use to take advantage of. Anyway, and trout tend to respond well to small spinners, nymphs, and natural drifts in deeper seams early than more active feeding ladens once the days warm up. If you want one simple rule, fish the warmest stable water part of the day and keep in the warmest stable part of the day and keep your presentation natural. I use them old Georgia nymphs. If you know what a Georgia nymph is, send me a chat. Like to know how many old boys out there know what that is, or ladies. Warm season prep now means checking reels, replacing weak line. I still got to do that. Fishing a trout stream, now you guys know this, but fishing these small streams, hell, you'll make 200 or 300 casts in a day. And if you're using a 4-pound test or a 2-pound test, and you're making 100 casts a day, that little old line is beat out by the end of the day. So make sure you change the lines out. I got to do that myself. Also, checking terminal tackle, charging your boat batteries, and making sure the boat trailer is ready before the real rush hits. Spring punishes procrastination. Ain't that the truth? In the woods, on the water, and in the garden. Lord knows that's the truth. And I'm the king of procrastination. Well, come on in the house, everybody. Send me a chat. Welcome to the show. If you watch this at a later date, go ahead and send a chat or a message or something. Give me a thumbs up. Let me know you like what you saw, and then put in your calendar to attend next Thursday night at 6 o'clock. I know you got kids, you got longer daylights and you're working, but I don't know another time to do it. I just picked a time and tried to noodle it out. Everything on the face of the planet wants your time. They want your minds. All these internet, whatever, all these things, these creators, they all want your time. I want a community. I want a community where we could grow together and be helpful to one another. I'm not here to necessarily sell anything, but if there's an old farmer or something who's got likes to sell a beef or two every year, and I mention it, and you buy beef, that's good. That's kind of the advertisement, or that's the kind of business I want to do. If old boy's got a landscaping business and he says, "Hey, Scott, mention my landscaping business, man, and see if I can help me build my business a little bit," I'm on it, because I want us as a community to know who we work with, from the lawn care people to the contractor we use to make repairs on our home, to our law enforcement, EMS personnel. I want everybody to know everybody. And now, Facebook is a beautiful place. It really is. It allows all that to happen, but sometimes people get carried away on their comments. They get passionate about, in my opinion, it probably not necessarily the right things to get passionate about. But here we'll keep it lighthearted, and we'll concentrate on what we're doing right in our community, and we'll build a stronger community, and we'll be able to reach out in an emergency notice and call our resources together and protect those of us who are like-minded in the way we live our lives. All right, I think I got enough of that out. Anyway, it's just a time filler between the segments. I rush through them. I do try to prepare a little script so that I can keep this thing moving in some sort of organized way. I do have a great deal of help. You'll see her right there. Pluriforia is what I call her. And she's also on the title page. Let me flip over and give you a view of her. Well, there she is. Old ponytails, looks a little bit like my bride. A little bit. My bride's just a little bit more mature than Pluriforia has represented herself there. But anyway, she's my digital assistant, and I send her out there to do my research and bring it back and organize me a little bit just so I can try to be a little more entertaining. I don't think I could sit down and generate all this information in a timely fashion, being old and impatient as I am. And my old throat's tickling bad. Anywho, there's always one thing we need to include here, and that's a safety segment. Spring is friendly looking weather, but it still catches people. Turkey hunters need some reminders, the same reminders every year. Identify your target fully. Never, ever stalk a gobble. Wear orange when moving and treat every sound in the mountain woods like another hunter may be closer than you think. Another hunter may be closer than you think. Georgia DNR continues to emphasize basic turkey hunting safety as part of the season. Now, on the water, life jackets are still not optional. Cold weather shock and hypothermia are still real in April, especially in the old mountain water, brother. I've been in that Tallulah River in August, and that son would go. It put a cool down on me in a big hurry. So it's still real in April, especially in mountain water. A warm afternoon can fool you into thinking that water is forgiving. It isn't. Add in slick ramps, wet rocks, and spring gusts, and you've got plenty of reasons to stay humble. Ain't that the goodness truth? I tell you what, I have taken more unplanned dips and some of the rivers around here than I could possibly keep count of. At boat rocks on rocks, fishing the river, especially these old freestone rivers around here. Them old rocks is slick. I learned years ago. I had them old cheap waders, I thought I was a bad boy. And then I got, well, dang, it's cold. And I wanted to extend the season, so I got me some waders. And the first set I got had them old rubber feet on them. Them didn't last long. I got rid of them in a hurry. And then I got me some pretty good waders, and I really like them. And I got boots. And I'm on my second pair of boots. Can you believe that? I just noticed that today. And I got the kind of boots where you can change out the heels on them, or the soles on them. But I keep them felts on. Yes, sir. And my brother-in-law's still in that stage with the rubber boots. I expect him one day now to pull the trigger and get them felt boots in. He'll be a much more happier camper, But you stick with what you know till you know something different. That's for certain. No matter who you are, that's the way she swings. And with the Regents still drive out outdoor fire awareness matters too. Boy, it is dry in Rabun County. Rabun County's current forecast includes low humidity and elevated fire danger. I see it in the weather bug every day talking about it's a fire hazard. Something's a fire hazard every day. But anyway, so anybody burning brush, running equipment, or even just fooling with an open flame outdoors needs to use some judgment. I had some doors replaced on the back of the house back before the first of the year, and I got all the glass out. I'm going to try and build something out of. They were those French doors, and man, they got beat up in the weather. They were that old. They weren't real wood. They were that old particle board, or what do you want to call that stuff? But they was falling apart, and I got them replaced, and I just threw them off the back deck there and let them gather, and then it got dry. A few weeks back, it had a little rain, so I burned them, and it took all day to burn those things. But anyway, we got it done, and glad we did. Speaking of weather, the weather and seasonal outlook is, right now, it's running warm and dry. Today was mostly sunny and very warm with an elevated fire threat from the low humidity. Friday stays warm, Saturday turns breezy, and cooler air mass drops in Sunday into Monday with conditions moderate again next week. We may get a little rain. I think I saw that might be why I'm getting a bad satellite signal. We're supposed to get some rain this evening. I'm trying to pull up the weather. Yeah, we might get a little rain this evening, about 8 or 9 o'clock. And then the next day, we might get some rain come, Saturday night. Yeah. Looks like Saturday afternoon. Boy, I need to get my plants in the dirt too. They're about to bust out of their little pods. And I tell you what, this old head cold or allergy or whatever it is I got, like I mentioned, has beaten the daggum ambition out of me. But I need to get out there. I've got a few extra tomato plants. If somebody wants some, just send me a message. Heck, come get them, or I'll bring them to you. I probably got 2 or 3 of 5 or 6 variations, from cherry to grape to Roma to, I think I got some Cherokee purples, Better Boys. So I probably got 2 or 3 plants of each of those that I'm probably willing to hand out to somebody who wants them. But send me a chat if you catch this later. Feel free to contact me, and we'll hook up, and I'll get you some of those. Or you can come here and get them. I don't care. Anyway, the 7-day forecast doesn't show a big soaking event in the immediate window. So yes, rain is in the conversation, but not much of it right now. On the broader outlook, the NOAA seasonal guide favors above normal temperatures for the region this spring, while ongoing dryness has been a bigger story in Georgia. That fits what many of us are seeing on the ground already. Beautiful spring weather, but a little thirsty. Boy, mulch. I was out there mulching the other day and had some weeds popping up after I put the mulch down after 2 or 3 days. Old poke salad plants, and they was out there, and I went out there and chopped them down. Boy, they got some big old roots. I know they're going to come back up. But keep the ground mulched, and it'll conserve water and make weeding a whole lot easier. So the practical advice is simple. Enjoy the temperatures, but stay ahead of moisture needs, fire awareness, and those occasional cool snaps that can still mess with early planning decisions. And it is time to think about the garden. Like I said, all my seeds I started back in around the middle, last half of March. They're ready to go in the ground. They sure are. I'm going to try some Three Sisters planting. That's where you put in a corn stalk and a bean and a pumpkin of some sort. I'm probably going to do a little bit of that Three Sisters planting. I did this week get the beds mulched and went up top. Boy, those wildflower beds and those zinnia beds were a mess. That's the only thing I tilled was those beds up there, because I've only had them for about 2 or 3 years, so they still need a lot of work. And trying to get the organic matter built up in them to increase the productivity of those beds. But I like having those. As you come in my driveway, you got wildflowers on one side and a zinnia patch on the other. And there's several other little patches of, I got some more seeds starting there. I got a lot left to do. A lot left to do this spring as far as gardening going. But for the gardeners in northeast Georgia mountains, this is a doing season. UGA's vegetable calendar for North Georgia says April is right for early planting, like carrots, collards, lettuce, mustard, English peas, Irish potatoes. I think I'm going to put a little patch of potatoes out there. I got a little bed that never has been really productive in anything. I might just turn that into a potato patch this year. Anyway, and it's also recommended starter fertilizer around transplants like cabbage, plus keeping strawberry mulch replenished. UGA also notes that North Georgia runs 1 to 3 weeks later in spring than much of the state. So mountain gardeners, be patient, boys and girls. What gardeners should be doing right now is building success, not chasing instant gratification. That means soil preparation. This is my second year of doing no-till. And I'm probably not at an age where I ought to do a lot of experimentation, but I've seen a lot of people be successful with no-till, and I think that's the right way to go. If you could keep that soil intact, just think how hard it is to beat the weeds out of a place that you never tend to, and how the soil looks in different places. So if you got several, garden areas on your property, you'll notice those. But, make sure the pH is correct. Compost. I'm also looking for some compost. If anybody's out there, I need some additional mulch hay. I'd like to have about 10 bales of mulch hay. And I'd like to have a small dump truck full of manure so I can put it on the compost pile and let it start working, get it ready for next year. I am starting to harden off my warm season seedlings. They're out there under the porch out here. I have to water them every other day or something like that. That's squash, melons, okra. I got a few okra starts. I don't normally go ahead and start a few okra, but I'll start some in the ground as well. I got some rosemary still to go out. A bunch of flower seeds I got to get planted. If you think about it too much, you get kind of go like, wow, I don't know if I want to get into all that, but I'm going to continue to do it because I love the way it ends up looking. And but anyway, UGA general vegetable guidance also reminds gardeners to choose sunny sites and to think of terms of steady care, not heroic effort. Well, that's what they're going to get. Intermittent steady care for me. Now, my wife will get out there and garden. She claims she likes doing the weeding, but I don't know if she's making that up or not. But anyway, UGA Resources continues to support them as a strong mountain option. Blueberries, and I do have some blueberries. They're the wild ones, and very seldom I'll get up there and throw some 10, 10, 10 into them, but I tend not to mess with them. They were growing strong when I got here, and we got plenty of blackberries on the hillside out front of the house, so boy, my wife makes a wonderful blackberry jam. If you're interested in tasting her blackberry jam, let me know. I bet she's fixing to start making. She's got some left. She's got bags of them left over from last year. And she mixes the red ones and the purple ones just in the right fashion with the right amount of citric and the right amount of sugar. It is wonderful on a biscuit. Hell, it's wonderful on a spoon, and it's wonderful on a peanut butter and jam sandwich. It's just, and if you're building out a longer-term edible landscape, native options like serviceberry, elderberry, American hazelnut are worth considering alongside the usual garden species. Whew, tell you what. I love y'all, and my voice is just getting harder and harder to deal with right now. Anyway, I asked Plur for you to look up some local events and community notes, and a few things happen around Rabun County and nearby. The Forward Rabun the Forward Rabun Chamber calendar shows the Vet Cafe that happened on this past week. Food Bank of Northeast Georgia, the Teaching Kitchen Spring Fling on April 29th. Some other things, a Hambridge Hive Artist Talk on Thursday, April 16th. That's tonight from 6:30. Somebody added a photo. My sister just added a photo. Ask the Naturalist. Ask the Naturalist, an event on Friday, April 17th from 11:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. And Tula River Gorge State Park always got something going on. They have a monumental falls hike listed for Sunday, April 19th from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. That must not include walking down that gorge, or if it does, it's for folks a lot more better physical shape than I am, because that'd take me a half a day to do that, I am sure. Anyway, the county is moving again. Spring has people back outside. Speaking of being outside, what's that? Mountain City Flea Market up there. They said they were going to close that down, but it looks like it's going another year. So they got Vicky's in there. You can get you a biscuit sandwich or whatever and go up there. Go up there and visit that flea market. The flea market is the best form of capitalism that exists today, in my opinion. There's very low taxation on whatever you buy or sell. And people are selling and moving things that not only decorate your home, but also can be useful in the garden and so forth. But anyway, please get a chance to go by up there and visit the Mountain City Flea Market. It's between Dillard and Clayton. It's up there. If you're heading north, it's on the left. It's a big old flea market too. Anyway, hey, how do you know it's spring in Rabun County? Well, when you leave the house in a jacket, regret it by lunch, and go looking for it again before dark. No, Granddaddy would have said, spring in the mountains is just winter with a better attitude. And every mountain gardener knows 3 stages of April are optimism, overconfidence, and explaining to your tomatoes why you're bringing them back inside. All right. Tonight's shout out go to the turkey hunters losing sleep on purpose, the trout fishermen. Keeping a rod in the truck, gardeners harden off seedlings one tray at a time. and the folks who keep life moving through winter so the rest of us could step into spring. And a special nod to anybody juggling work, family, weather, weariness, and still showing up. Go get it, boys. I know the life, and I am so proud of you young men out there hustling. And I'm not so proud of you old boys still trying to develop your gaming career in your mom and daddy's basement, but them young men getting out there and hustling and trying to make it happen, thank you, boys. I appreciate you. Here's a question. What's the biggest sign of spring you've noticed this week? Gobbling on the ridge? First fish? Seedlings coming up strong? You notice the dogwoods out in the forest? The azaleas in towns around the houses? Or something wilder along the trail? And for the crowd at home, what are you chasing first this season? Get out there. You chasing turkeys, trout, tomatoes, or just a little bit more time outdoors? You know, spring is in full stride now. The woods are talking, the water is changing, and the gardens are asking for attention. And the country is waking back up in all the ways that matter. And through all that, the reason we gather hasn't changed one bit. We're a community of like-minded. Well, you know what? Before I get into repeating that, I want to make sure that this is something I've got to put into the program, and that's the exchange. Listen, if you, I'm looking for 3 different things. I'm looking for some straw mulch. I'm looking for some manure, preferably cow manure, but I'll take chicken manure, I know, and I'll mix it all up, put it in the straw, and amend it and get it ready and cooking and be ready for later this year. Put it on the garden, get the garden ready for next year. So if you've got any of those things, let me know. I do have money. I ain't begging. And another thing, here's a funny story. I go to the Home Depot the other week, and the old gal in the garden center, I'm buying some topsoil and what have you. And I asked a gal, I said, you got any broad forks? And she looked at me and she pointed over there where the pitchforks were. She says, we got them. I said, no, I'm looking for a broad fork. And she goes, blah, blah, blah. And I was checking out. And so I went and loaded up my truck because I had people waiting to load my truck. I bought half a pallet of topsoil to bring home. And so I went back in to get a couple more things. And I pulled it up on my phone what a broad fork was. And I said, did you think about that broad fork any? She says, listen, my granddaddy was 103 years old. And he farmed, and I ain't ever heard of a broad fork. And I showed her the picture of it where they supposed to have them at Home Depot. And she said, never mind. And she called me a Chad. I was like, hey, all I'm doing is looking for a broad fork. But anyway, I'd like to have a broad fork. If you know what a broad fork is, I'm looking for one. If you don't know what a broad fork is, send me a chat and I'll sure fill you in what a broad fork is. If you're into no-till gardening, a broad fork is a good thing to have. But anyway, if you got a piece of old tractor, you got an old tractor, you got a piece of equipment you no longer need, and it's taking up space, and you want to trade it for chickens, or you just want to flat out sell it, you could post it right here in the chat, and I'll broadcast it out to anybody who might be interested in that. It's a perfect opportunity for friends and neighbors to share and exchange resources. But anyway, I need to start adding that in every week. But remember, we're a community of like-minded people with common interest in hunting, fishing, protecting our community, culture, families, and environment. We come here to exchange ideas, resources, and information. And I'm going to close this thing out tonight with a new song that I just made up. But I just want to say thank you for spending this evening with the Rabun County Rag. This is Bubba, And the most important thing I want you to do is be grateful. Have a grateful day and have a grateful week. And we'll see you next Thursday night at 6 o'clock.
Morning breaks on a ridgeline high, soft blue haze in a waking sky, dogwood blooms in the redbud's flame, calling everything back by name. River runs like it always knew how to carry the night on through. Cool, damp air and the smell of pine. Lord, it feels like the world's just fine. It's an Appalachian spring again. Life comes rolling back in the wind. From the holler to the mountain top, you can feel that the cold has stopped. Hear the birds and the whippoorwills sing. Every heart gets a second wind. In the light of a brand new day, Appalachian spring finds a way. Boots on dirt down an old trail bend, where the creek and the wildflowers blend. Trillium white in the morning shade, quiet beauty the good Lord made. The sun comes slow through the tulip trees, dancing gold in the mountain breeze. Every step feels like home to me in these hills where my soul runs free. It's an Appalachian spring again. Life comes rolling back in the wind. From the holler to the mountain top, you can feel that the cold has stopped. Oh, hear the birds and the whippoorwills sing. Every heart gets a second wind. In the light of a brand new day, Appalachian spring finds a way. Fiddle cry and the banjo roll, that mountain sound down in your soul. Old front porch and a coffee cup, watching all of the world wake up. Simple things that we understand. Ain't no riches like this land.